Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and hello if you're new here. Thank you so much for joining. So today I thought I would do a video with all my book recommendations for people who are becoming a reader, people who are new to reading, people who maybe have only read a couple of books but still don't really know what they like or what they love, because I feel like it's really overwhelming, the amount of books that are out there, and especially the influx in the last couple of years of a lot of authors that maybe like 3 or 4 years ago are just indie published on, say, Amazon, for example, and now you can walk into Waterstones and pick up a dark romance that you may not have even been realising based off of the cover, because we have a lot of discreet covers and stuff nowadays. You wouldn't have even known that you're picking up a dark romance. I would recommend these books to my friends if they were asking me, you know, what book should I read? Can I have a book recommendation? For people who specifically say to me, like, I want to read more books, I want to get into reading, what books would you recommend me? These are the books that I would recommend. I've got a variety of genres here: fantasy, contemporary romance, some leaning a little bit darker but not fully dark romance. I've got a completely separate video for dark romance for beginners, essentially, if that's what you want to get into, because that is a whole other kettle of fish, and I haven't included as many in this one. Just remember, reading is subjective. What I might recommend as like an easy to read book or something, you might not necessarily feel the same, but I do feel like on the whole there is a pretty good selection. So first up, this is in sports romance, and this is a hockey romance series, which these are the indie published versions, but you can now go and get these in Waterstones. Becca Mac is traditionally published, but it is the Playing for Keeps series by Becca Mac. These are literally just hockey contemporary sports romances. Now, what I will say is these are definitely on the spicier side, but they are so easy to follow and they're not too complicated. Her writing is fun, it's enjoyable, the books are funny. I've read 2, I haven't read Unravel Me yet. I gave Consider Me 3.5 stars, and I gave Play With Me 4 stars. That was so much better than Consider Me. I would recommend these to my friends, 100%. I just think they're really easy to digest, they are fun. It's sports romance, so it's not just your plain and simple two people meet and we follow them falling in love. I'd say it's on the spicier side. So if you are someone that maybe doesn't like a lot of spice in your books, I'd say that, you know, some of the things that these men say are not the most PG. But aside from that, in terms of themes in the books, they're fun. They're all the best tropes, like best friend's brother, brother's little sister, grumpy sunshine. Like, all the tropes I think are just the easiest to start out with. So I would recommend this series. On the subject as well of contemporary romances, I can't believe I didn't start with this book first, to be completely honest. The Idea of You by Robin Lee is one of the best books I have ever read, ever, in terms of just the contemporary romance genre. This is incredible. It is reverse age gap, rockstar, forbidden love romance. And it's amazing, and it's kind of emotional, and it really gets you in the feels. There is so much depth, so much emotion to these characters. There's such a full and beautiful story. It's kind of heartbreaking, but it's also incredible. Heartbreaking books, they tend to be very poetic in their writing. I wouldn't say this one is so poetic. It is definitely like a book that you could still take on holiday with you and read by the pool or on the beach, on the train. It's just one of those easy books that you can read in any situation, and it's amazing. It's 5 stars for me. I think about it all the time, and it is a book that I want to reread and will definitely reread at some point, probably this year. It has also recently just been made into a film. Please read this book before you watch the film, please. Then the next book that I would recommend, and I do also think that you can get Sophie Lark in Works and Waterstones now, if obviously you're based in the UK, but Brutal Prince. This is the first book in a Brutal Birthright series, which has got 6 books that follow. Again, just really easy, simple, fun and enjoyable, quick. Like, you can honestly fly through this book, because that's another thing. I know that a lot of people struggle with how long it takes them to read books, and I do think that if it's taking you 2 weeks to finish a 300-page book, naturally you're going to find it a bit long and a bit boring, and you feel like it's dragging. So that's why you need them to rope you in. And so I would really recommend Brutal Prince, because it is exactly that. It has got darker subjects in it. It is a mafia romance, but very, very light. To me, it read more like billionaire romance, to be honest, than mafia romance, but very, very light on that. So I would call this an extremely light dark romance. It's grey. It's feather grey, if not cloudy white, you know? So it is very, very easy to follow. Again, it's got really good tropes in it. It's got like enemies to lovers and hate to love and rival families and just things that are fun, and they're going to keep you entertained. So that's my next recommendation. The next book talk about this a lot, and I feel like probably everybody who has always been reading will have read this series. But if you are newer to reading, this is an older series. I think it was published back in like 2012. So the Crossfire series by Sylvia Day is such an OG series. It's an oldie but a goodie. And this, for me, is way better than 50 Shades of Grey. So if you're that person, because everybody and their mum read 50 Shades, read that book, but you're not necessarily somebody who reads avidly, but you read that book 10 years ago, this is so much better if you haven't read this. This is everything 50 Shades of Grey wish it could be. Gideon Cross for me is like the OG billionaire, morally great, obsessive MMC. He is great. Again, this is on the spicier side, but it's very easy to follow. Big city, New York, billionaire vibes. It's so fun. It is a whole series. If you enjoy it, you might find that you're going to end up going back to the shop and picking up the rest. I think there are new covers now because this is old. I mean, the pages in this are yellow. I've had it for that long, but I would highly recommend it. And again, this is one that I recommend to all my friends who ask me, is there a book that you would recommend? I'm like, you need to read Bear to You. It's just incredible, and I can guarantee you'll probably want to finish the series. It's really good. Okay, so this is another one that I don't really see spoken about very much. It has got the rockstar romance trope in it, which is one of my favourites. This is Midnight Blue by LJ Shen. This is the typical workplace rockstar romance where they're going on tour. I've got this troubled image, he needs to reform himself. Really fun. I really enjoyed it. I think I gave this 4 stars actually. I read this over a year ago now, so my memory on it is a bit hazy. I remember using this because it's short as a palette cleanser, and it was really good, really fun, really easy. It's probably going to make you fall in love with the rock star trope. So next up, actually this is another LJ Shen book to be fair. This is co-written with Parker S. Huntington, but this is My Dark Romeo, and again on the spicier side. However, that being said, this is so funny. If you're somebody who likes rom-coms but you want to up the rom-com game a notch, I honestly would recommend My Dark Romeo. I think it's so fun. This is again like a billionaire, like affluent society, marriage of convenience romance. Is it marriage of convenience or forced arranged marriage? I mean, they're the same but different. And it's so fun. And also, a lot of rom-coms for me aren't actually funny. It's very rare that books genuinely make me laugh, but this made me laugh. Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark made me laugh. Dallas, the FMC in this, is one of the most relatable FMCs ever. I can guarantee every girl that picks up this book will have something in common with Dallas, and I think that also makes it really digestible because you can put yourself in her shoes. You feel like you're her friend when you're in her POV, and I think that's important when you're reading. If you're not connecting with the characters, then you're not going to enjoy the book. That will not happen with this. It's really fun. It's really fast paced. There's a lot of laughter and fun in this. Like, I would really recommend this one. On the subject still of contemporary romance, the Magnolia Park series. This is actually the most recent book to come out, which is book number 5. I haven't actually read this book yet, but this is the series actually just here. This is amazing. This series has absolutely zero spice in it whatsoever. It's very fade to black, behind closed doors. It's definitely not a spicy romance. This is like a contemporary, I wouldn't even call it romance. It's like women's literary fiction. It's London high society. It follows a group of friends and it basically just follows their lives, and the books alternate between the POVs of 2 girls at the moment, which is Magnolia Parks, and then we've also got Daisy Hates. And the whole series is incredible for me. I read it in May last year and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since. Saying I think about it on a daily basis is pretty factually correct. It is incredible, and because it's got no spice in it and it is just genuinely just following romance, drama, heartbreak, laughter, everything is in these books, and the writing is stunning. It is so beautiful. It is one of those books where the writing is a little bit more unique. Jessa Hastings' writing style is very unique. If you've read a couple of books you want to play around with writing styles, this is a good place to start. 90% of people who have read this series like it, and the other 10% don't like it, and I don't know why. We must have been reading something different. This is one of the only times I would say that this is objectively a good series. No, I'm joking. Obviously everything is extremely subjective, and I totally respect the people that do not like this series. I just don't understand. You get this again in Waterstones now. This is the cover that you'd be most likely to find in just like traditionally. Why is my sticker still on that? That really upsets me. But these are the covers, the shoe covers that you'll probably find in stores now. And then I think you can only get these ones online. So keep an eye out for these kind of books, but amazing. Everybody needs to go and read Magnolia Parks right now. Okay, so on the subject of kind of darker romance, Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver is a really good introduction, I would say, not necessarily just into reading. What I would say is, if you've never read a book before, I wouldn't start with this, to be honest. Anything else that I've recommended, yes. This, probably not. Maybe read one of those first. But this is like a dark rom-com, which is why I would recommend it, because it's like dark romance, but it's not that serious, and it's funny. It's very like tongue-in-cheek, very dark comedy. It has got like serial unalivers in it, but it's not intense. It's like if you read thrillers on holiday, but you wanted more romance, and you like to read rom-coms, you need to just read Butcher and Blackbird. It's great. It doesn't get spicy really until maybe like the last 20% as well. So I think it's digestible. It's not like you're going to open the pages of this book and be hit with spicy scene after spicy scene. It's not like that. There is a lot of plot to outweigh like the darkness and the spice of it. Also, Rowan Kane is going to become one of your favourite book boyfriends. I can guarantee that by the end of this book. In the world of fantasy books, I've got 2 books here that I would highly recommend. I know everybody recommends like ACOTAR and things, but honestly, these are fantasy books that I think you need to read. So this is Powerless by Lauren Roberts, and this, if you read Hunger Games when you were younger and then you lost touch of reading but you enjoyed Hunger Games and you want to get back into it, you've got to read Powerless. The similarities are maybe a little bit too similar. This basically felt like I was reading Hunger Games with a few tweaks here and there. But aside from that, best slow burn, no spice in it because it's YA. And if there is, like again, it's just like Fade to Black, or it's like Oh, He Kissed Me. It's nothing too intense. But honestly, this is so good. It's so tense. There's such a slow burn. It's an easy to digest fantasy. The world building is easy to follow. You don't find it confusing. It's exciting. It's very much like Hunger Games. Like we've got trials in it. The magic system is very interesting as well. And you just have so much fun with this. It's amazing. And then One Dark Window, again, is another fantasy that has a very intricate and unique magic system. It is so good. And I feel like a lot of people were sleeping on this book, but it's kind of getting the hype that it deserves now. It's amazing. There is a second book to this. I haven't read it yet, so I can't speak on that one. But again, this is easy, very light on the spice scale, but there's a slight bit of romance, but I would say there's more plot than there is romance. The world building, again, very easy. This is beautifully written, this book. The writing style in this, a little bit different, but still easy to digest. Ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, so now that the second book is out, I can guarantee you will want to go and read and go in straight. The only reason I didn't is because the second book wasn't out at the time, and I'm just too many other books deep and just sort of way into my dark romance era again that I'm not ready to go back to fantasy at the moment. But One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig is an absolute must if you want to get into fantasy and you haven't read a lot of books, or you're getting into reading and you know that you would prefer the fantasy genre. So there we have it. They are all my book recommendations if you are looking to become a reader again, or you've had a huge break from reading for a couple of years, you don't really know where to start. These are my recommendations for you because I think they're a little bit more fun than things like the Twisted series or the Dreamland Billionaire series, in my opinion. So I really hope you enjoy them. If you've read any of these, or you're going to pick any of these up, or you feel inspired, let me know. But I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to leave any recommendations for any videos you'd like to see from me in the future in the comments down below as well. Thank you for watching and joining me as always, and I'll see you in my next video.